Goodwill Humping?
Yep.
Is that a porn?
Yep. Like, I have 5 keys that like aren't in my laptop, so it gets sticky. Wait, it doesn't say humping.
I know. I was kidding.
Damn it.
I think that was a Family Guy joke.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there's Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Instagram and Bluesky at Namely90s. You can also find this show on YouTube every Monday at youtube.com/@namely90s. And if you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/namely90s, also with the 90s, and get signed up for one of our support levels. Hey, it's good to be back in the shed.
What? Yeah. Andrew's recording,
in the zone.
Recording live from his Unabomber shed in somewhere around Montana.
Taped from it, recorded from an earlier telecast.
Yeah.
Podcast, whatever.
It's Namely 90s live. Yeah. One perk that will never be coming to our Patreon.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, here we are.
Yes.
It snowed a bunch today, sideways primarily.
Fun. It's going to rain here this weekend, and I have 3 rounds of disc golf tournament up in Monterey.
Oof,
so.
Another one of those atmospheric rivers.
I don't know. It doesn't look like it's going to be as bad as it was recently, but I'm sure there's some fun buzzword for it. Like,
I mean, we're gonna have a terrestrial airstream one of these days. You just like walk down the street and all of a sudden get sucked down like some crazy wind vortex.
Well, I mean, we had tornadoes. We had 2 tornadoes touch down in the county like last week.
You know, it's funny. We had a tornado here in the Spokane area a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
We get one every 10, 20 years. Like, it's a very rare occurrence.
Right.
Still managed to hit a trailer park. How do they know? What is it about trailer parks?
Yeah, they must build in certain locations. Or maybe it's like some sort of summoning circle.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. Speaking of trailer parks, speaking of Twisters. No, I guess.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, that would have been a good segue for later. No, what else?
Speaking of segways, scooters. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So the last atmospheric river brought a wind event, which I think a top of a tree has fallen, and it would have fallen on my car had it not just caught on a electrical wire that runs.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's good. Oh, no.
Yeah. That runs from one of the main poles to the street lamp. So it's a city, it's a city line or PG&E line. I don't know. And like we reported it over a week and a half ago. And so it's like, I've been parking on the street. My landlord's been parking like out of the way. So like if it does fall, it doesn't fall on one of our cars and then smash it.
Is it a live wire?
Yeah, I don't know if it is or not. Is it a live wire? Like it's the outside. It's the outside of the.
True.
But like, yeah, it's. I mean, it's not. I would say it's not as high voltage as what is like in the main line.
But we can agree it's not ideal.
Yeah. No. Yeah, and it does look like someone tried to like dislodge it at one point because I swear it's in a different position than it was originally.
They're like barefoot standing in a puddle using like an aluminum rod trying to get it.
Pretty much. But I'm just like, and now, yeah. But yeah, we mentioned it to PG&E or whomever does the power out here, and No one's been by.
Except Procter Gamble and Enron. What's it stand for?
Yes. Procter Gamble and Ron.
Yeah, I thought so.
That sounds right. So. Speaking of biting political satire, The Daily Show came back
yes, it
with
did.
Jon Stewart as host the week that we're recording this.
I did watch that.
You watched his bit?
I did. It was 20 minutes. I don't watch 20-minute long videos.
Fair.
I watched this 20-minute long video. It was epic. It was excellent.
Yeah. I just wish that he would have maybe 2 days a week instead of 1 day a week.
Yeah.
Since there's only 4 days. I mean,
if there's a time, it's now,
Right. And, I don't know if the first episode back was an hour-long special versus or a 42-minute special because it did that opening segment was 20 minutes. The bit with all the news anchors were probably 15 minutes and the interview went for 15 minutes or so. So it was just I mathed wrong, but I was wow.
Let's see. What did we learn? Magnets are rendered useless underwater.
That's a classic Trump line now. Yeah.
The leading cause of memory loss amongst politicians is being deposed. I think my favorite one was he was talking about how in all of these briefings, Biden looks kind of incompetent and geriatric and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then all of his people come to his defense and they're he's razor sharp. He's on top of things. He's got everything figured out. And then Jon Stewart's did you record that?
Exactly.
That was good. It was a return to form for me.
And that's the thing. That's the one thing. So when we did that tier list ranking, I think last episode or the episode before, that was the one thing that was really missing was the from Trevor Noah. That would have, I think I could have argued for him to be S tier, but the one thing that was missing is since he's South African, he's not a part of the politics as much as
sure.
I mean, he is since he lived here for however many years since getting the Daily Show, but it was.
But I feel the difference is it's like when you get into a hot tub, you're oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I likened it to the Ratatouille moment where you're eating the dish and it's oh my God, this is just childhood. And it was just yes, it felt like the person behind the desk is both acknowledging the hypocrisy, calling it out on both sides. And,
I trust that he has it too. I know he's got this.
Yes. And the fact, and it just brings us back to a time where fake news, actual fake news, not the fake news that you find on Facebook, has more integrity than the actual CNN or Fox News or what have you.
Yeah. No, it was excellent. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, absolutely. It's all on YouTube, by the way. If you don't have Comedy Central, if you don't have cable, if you don't have Paramount Plus, you can watch the majority of the Daily Show on YouTube. Sometimes before it's even out.
They just start televising Congress instead of on C-SPAN on Comedy Central, because it is a big joke after all.
I wonder if there's Twitch streamers that just have C-SPAN on and be this is the shit show today.
But the problem is C-SPAN is so dreadfully boring. The actual proceedings of Congress are dreadfully boring. No wonder nothing gets accomplished. Not to mention everyone is the undead.
Yeah, it would be more
and they're too busy molesting people or drinking to actually do anything. How am I wrong?
You're not. That's why I have no words. Oh, we're giving handies at the stage performance of Beetlejuice. Yeah. Speaking of one second. Computer, stop. Speaking of the stage performance of Computer, stop.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll just wait here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot I should have added an extra hour to my timer. What the hell?
It's okay. We're recording at a weird time.
Yeah. No, I'm doing laundry. That was just to remind me when we were done that I should go get my laundry. Oh no, that was the timer to remind me to start recording. Yeah, here. Okay. I got it. I figured it out. Anyway, also today the X-Men 97 trailer dropped. And since you actually watched it, I feel like we should talk about it before we move on.
I'm going to say I don't like superhero stuff.
Right.
Don't love animated series.
That is also a thing.
This is a good trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like it pumped you up, you know. It was like, yeah.
That theme song. Yeah. It also went through like what happened at the end of season 5 of X-Men, which ended in 96. So like I recall watching some of it as a kid. Did you ever watch episodes of that?
I did not.
Okay. It was on Fox Kids. Yeah. You know, I feel like it looked good. I'll watch it, but like, what's going on? They just cast the Fantastic Four. The only Marvel movie coming out this year is Deadpool 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine, which was a trailer at the Super Bowl. And that's my segue to today's topic. It's the Super Bowl again.
All right.
Yeah.
Superb owl.
I get it. The Super Bowl was last week, but we don't record Sunday nights.
Well, we recorded it before the Super Bowl to air the next morning, so we didn't really get to cover commercials. Although our comments aged well. I said, oh yeah, remember how that red team won? And then we proceeded to talk about people being outraged that Taylor Swift was on camera. Mm-hmm. And that pretty much covered it.
Oh, by the way, so like throughout the week, you had been sending me like different stats of how long Taylor Swift was on screen for like playoffs and I think even the Super Bowl, which was a question at trivia this week. So you got me points.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can I just say too, like everyone's bitching and moaning about too much Taylor Swift. Meanwhile, the NFL puts on the 3 most boring quarters of football ever played, and then have the audacity, or someone had the audacity later, to refer to it as one of the most exciting games in Super Bowl history. I'm like, maybe the most exciting, like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They're showing Taylor. Well, there's nothing else happening.
Yeah. And again, so she was only on screen during playtime for 55 seconds. Like from kickoff to that final touchdown, 55 seconds of Taylor.
How about that halftime show?
Sure, make the booty go smack.
And he did.
Is that the line? People were like ripping on Alicia Keys. Did you know that? Yeah.
No, why?
Apparently her voice cracked. You didn't see it. Her voice cracked when she started singing.
That girl was on fire. Doesn't her voice have that quality anyway?
Yeah, that's what I thought. But like, also, I watched the clip and I was like, I watched this. I do not remember that happening.
Also, God forbid should someone like not be perfect.
Right. And it's a free performance.
But Reba McEntire sure was.
They get paid zero money to do the Super Bowl halftime show.
Right.
Like yeah. And I mean, it was a good early 2000s refresh, I guess.
Yeah.
Usher, Little John, Alicia Keys.
I don't know. Yeah. It reminded me something about the time frame.
It reminded me of a girl that I once knew. Oh,
no, sorry. It showed me. It was like this thing on the internet. It was like a Jeep with a spare tire cover, and it showed a picture of like a manual gear shift pattern, and it said millennial anti-theft device. I think you mean Zoomer. First of all, like I learned how to drive a stick shift. I could still drive one to this day.
Yeah,
I think you got one generation off.
I think that
I believe like no
50-50.
No one in the Gen Z knows how to drive one.
Correct.
They aren't available.
Right. But I feel like 50-50 for millennials. But you're right, because millennial starts around 81. So they probably had stick shifts to drive. I don't know how to drive a stick.
Still.
I mean, I know
Anyway.
the concept. I'm not great at using the clutch.
Oh, sorry. I hijacked the world's best segue and ruined it.
Well, speaking
The
of
Super
hijacking
Bowl.
something and ruining it, Twisters. So yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna run down some of the commercials that came out during the Super Bowl that have 90s ties in 15 minutes or less.
All right. Twisters
Yeah,
is a movie.
it is a movie.
What do you mean by a standalone sequel? Meaning it has no connection to the previous?
Correct. That's what they're billing it as.
Well, didn't everyone die or retire?
I
Helen
mean,
Hunt, Bill Paxton died.
Bill, I thought you
Philip
meant-
Seymour Hoffman died.
I thought you meant in the movie. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess.
Carrie Elwes died.
He's alive?
in the movie.
Okay.
Philip Seymour Hoffman did die.
Yes.
So did Bill Paxton.
I thought that's what you were saying.
Who else is in this?
Helen Hunt. I mean, those are the
Hunt,
main
yeah.
people. Like the rumor is the girl is the daughter of the two previous ones.
No, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Can't tornadoes just exist other places and you just do the same thing?
No, this is Independence Day 2.
Michael Crichton is spinning around in his grave. That was a joke.
Also, he wrote Twisters.
He wrote Twister.
Oh, Twister? I didn't know that.
Michael Crichton and his wife wrote the screenplay for Twister.
Huh. Well, I
Now
guess,
you know.
Yeah, I guess we know what your reboot answer will be if we ever do it for those two. Speaking of the two best known Bostonians, one's a Bostonian. Is the other one Bostonian?
I think so. Mhm.
We had a Goodwill Hunting. Oh God, we had a Goodwill Hunting reference in the Dunkings commercial.
I said Goodwill Humping, but yours was better.
Yeah, but now yours is in the official audio. So, yeah. Ben Affleck comes because last year J-Lo showed up at Dunkin' Donuts when Affleck was doing like the drive-through window as a charity or whatever, and then she's just like, "Oh, Ben, no." And then so he brought the boys to audition for J-Lo for a backing track on her album or something. And they were decked out in Dunkin' Donuts attire.
Like tracksuits or
Yeah,
kind of like
tracksuits.
windbreaker tracksuits.
Yep. And then his brother was like on the beats, and Matt Damon was to the side and just like, "I don't want to be here. I'm only here because I told you I would always be there for you." Best friend stuff. And I think the best line was, or the Goodwill Hunting line was, "How do you like them donuts? I'm so sorry." Because the Goodwill Hunting lines, "How do you like them apples?"
Okay, this is a little bit lost on me because I never saw that movie.
Neither have I.
And also, I find
90s.
anything that I find, oh gosh, Tom Brady just like generally distasteful. So
Was Tom Brady in that?
He's in it. Yeah.
Oh, that was
Because
the
J-Lo at the end
guy.
is saying like, "Oh, you can stay, Tom."
Was
Wink,
that-
wink.
Was that Tom on the DJ stand then?
Tom had like the colored glasses and the,
Yeah. I was thinking that was Ben Affleck's brother. for some
but he's
reason.
also from Boston or played in Boston, I guess. But I just don't like
Pass.
him very much.
Yeah. Well, he was in another commercial too. That's impressive.
Yeah, he's trying to like start the second phase of his career or whatever, but it's like, ugh.
Not as an actor. Uber Eats had a mini Friends reunion with Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer. The whole premise of it was, if you use Uber Eats, if you remember the fact that Uber Eats can deliver extra things to you, you'll forget other things like this commercial. Yeah. Andrew's blinking.
Not funny,
No.
not clever.
Victoria Beckham and David forgot the Spice Girls.
Sort of incomprehensible, honestly. Like, I knew what it was about, which is why I knew what it was about, not because I figured out what it was about from the commercial.
Right.
And like, no.
I mean,
Also, there was an
an
extended cut where a guy like forgets he's allergic to peanut butter and then his face is all swollen and they cut it out. There's been a bunch of outrage because like not super funny. So really just not a well conceived commercial. I don't use Uber Eats because I use DoorDash. Like I just, this commercial does nothing for
me. Yeah.
Like everyone, you use food delivery, not because you want to, but because you feel that you have to, and the convenience is there, but you begrudgingly pay the fees that are just astronomical, right? It's like,
I've never used Uber Eats,
but food delivery in general, like
I also don't use food delivery.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
I don't get it delivered. Let me put it this way.
I'm not a busy family.
I don't get it delivered to my house.
Okay.
Like I get delivered to work when I forget food or whatever. So I use it quite a bit, but like you don't advertise for Uber Eats. Fat people like me use it because they need food and they begrudgingly pay you, not because they like your like they don't like you specifically as a company. They like food being delivered to their workplace. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't need a commercial for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm already sold. I'm fat and I want
I have a credit card. Food appears at my workplace.
Yep.
Could be any company.
Yep.
Although Uber got kind of rapey for a while, so I stopped using Uber mostly. Well, the drivers.
Right.
Trigger warning.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, there was like a whole sexual assault thing and they weren't like protecting their passengers adequately. So I just started using Lyft and DoorDash.
There's so much to unpack there in jokes, but I feel like the subject matter doesn't allow me to joke. So the next bad joke was the Mullets Kawasaki commercial. see, still connecting, making those connections. And the only connection here was Stone Cold Steve Austin was a wrestler in the 90s, and he was in it for like a blink and you miss cameo.
He did look pretty killer with that mullet, though.
Yeah, you know, because it made him look more redneck than he already is. Like it made him look more like Jesse Ventura, which I don't think is a good thing. A
guy I walked into the barbershop the other day with long hair, and he goes, "I want like kind of a modern mullet." I was like, "Is Roseanne modern?" like the Travis Tritt mullet, or what are you looking for?
You call it the Connors mullet now.
Yeah.
Speaking of the exact opposite of I don't have one for this one. Wicked had their like commercial premiere. Is this technically a 90s movies you can use segment?
Almost.
Right. Wicked is a musical from the early 2000s, which is being adapted finally into a movie after all of these recent movie musicals, apparently. And it's based off of the novel Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, which was a 90s book, 1995, which, you know, was adapted from The Wizard of Oz. Yeah. And the movie.
In a different previously deleted recording, I realized, did not know that Wicked was related to The Wizard of Oz. And so now I know that. Also, in a previously deleted part of the recording that I will probably repeat, if any Republicans did like this, they're not going to like it when they realize that the witch is a person of color.
Yeah.
I stand by that.
I mean, she's green.
But that's exactly my point. That's how outrageous it is. It's like with The Little Mermaid. They're like, Ariel was white. Like, no, she's a fish. She's a goddamn fish. They're like, the Wicked Witch of the West is supposed to be white, damn it. No, specifically, she's supposed to be green. Like,
I saw a great meme today about, it was just like, I think we hopped timelines, guys, because somehow conservatives are the most outraged at a white football player and his white girlfriend, white country artist girlfriend kissing.
I think they should do like a side story where like the Wicked Witch of the West gets a side job as a meteorologist. And It's like trying to stand in front of the green screen. Although now they just use big TV screens, which is kind of cool. But
yeah,
anyway.
but they still do some green screen, I think.
They do a little bit. I'm out of jokes now. There's this one guy, by the way. There's this one weather guy who like works lyrics from like 90s and 2000s songs into his weather cast. Those are pretty funny.
I think I've seen that. I've seen so the weather lady on King 5 now. She went to school with me. What was I going to say? Oh, the one time she did wear a green dress and was like, oh, wait, this is why I'm not supposed to wear this. Yeah. Speaking of stretches, I don't have a joke for this one either. M&M's had their Almost Champion ring commercial featuring Dan Marino. My note for this is Dan Marino was a major quarterback for the Dolphins in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, this is kind of a womp, womp, womp moment. Yeah. It just wasn't. No.
And to bring it back to things Andrew was prescient about last week, the apartments.com commercial featuring Jeff Goldblum.
Did I make an apartments.com joke about Jeff Goldblum in the Jurassic Park, the musical trailer?
2 weeks ago. Yes, the Jurassic Park, the musical trailer. And we got another Jeff Goldblum apartments.com commercial.
But I do love that the aliens, the one alien also doesn't like his in-laws.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
rim shot.
Classic American, good old American alien humor.
You got it. And there's clearly a play on Independence Day, which was fun.
Completely over my head.
Right. Wow. Well, that was the Super Bowl. And I didn't watch any of it. I just watched the commercials that you sent me.
Which is funny. I mean, even at trivia, I barely watched the Super Bowl, and I was the one that had to go up and do all the answers because no one else actually watched.
Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's Labrador Retriever was in one of the commercials. There's a trivial fact for you.
Did not know that one.
That may have been the Budweiser one with the Clydesdales.
Oh, yeah. I was pooping.
That's a great commercial for me to poop on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I'm not proud of it. I usually enjoy watching the commercials rather than the game for the Super Bowl, unless it's a Seahawks one. But yeah.
Well, there you go.
I was like, I don't need to watch the Clydesdale commercial. It hasn't changed in 15 years.
Sorry. True. Yeah. Well, there you go. And now let's go to Brandon for our Namely 90s Minute.
Welcome back to Namely 90s Minute. Every week we look back at a culturally relevant show, movie, or piece of pop culture that probably helps stoke the algorithm. This week, because Netflix is attempting to right the wrongs of M. Night Shyamalan with a live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, we're looking back at the original voice of Zuko's greatest live-action 90s role as Rufio in Hook. Hook is a 1991 fantasy adventure film directed by the E.T. guy, starring Patch Adams, the guy who gets seduced by Mrs. Robinson in The Graduate, Pretty Woman, Mario, the mom from the OC, the lead singer of Genesis, and Dame Professor McGonagall from the Harry Potter franchise. The story starts with San Francisco corporate lawyer Good Morning Vietnam as a workaholic father who is straining his relationship with the rest of his family, who he loves, but also he loves work. After breaking a promise to be at his son's baseball game, he flies with the family to visit his wife's grandmother, Wendy Darling, in London town. I'd just like to point out here for those who aren't up on Peter Pan lore, Wendy Darling is the name of the young girl Peter whisks away to Neverland in the classic stories, and spoilers, clearly Peter wiped up her granddaughter and had babies with her. After returning from a charity dinner, he and his wife find his grandmother-in-law's house ransacked and his children kidnapped with a ransom note signed by a Captain James Hook. The birdcage tries to involve the authorities who are no help, and Wendy is like, "You're Peter Pan, you have to go save your children in Neverland," and he's like, "Are you crazy, you senile gilf?" Later, fairy Aaron Brockovich blows into the nursery and abducts him and takes him back to Neverland. Dead Poet Society reveals himself to Smee and Hook, who laugh at how old he is. By the way, he is like 40 in this. Feel old, elder millennials. And Pixie Dust Notting Hill stays his execution by convincing Hook she can get him in fighting shape in a few days. Mrs. Doubtfire ends up with the Lost Boys, who, after also making fun of how old he is, train him in the ways of imagination to fly and fight. Meanwhile, Hook plays the nice guy captor, and Stockholm Syndrome's the eldest child, who just wants to play baseball with a father figure. Goodwill Hunting finds his old hangout he used to take Wendy, his grandmother-in-law, and her brothers too, and gets his memory back from Sprite Runaway Bride, who reveals she took orphan him from early 1900s London, and he also remembered bringing Wendy back and forth to Neverland until she was too old for the journey, and her granddaughter looked so bangable he'd leave his memories in eternal youth behind. Speaking of bangable, Fairy Mona Lisa Smile confesses her love for him, but he's all like, sorry, I would, but I have a family. The memory of his first child being born unlocks his power of flight, and Rufio gives the genie from Aladdin his sword. Jumanji and the Lost Boys fight Hook and the pirates and win, but not before Hook fatally stabs Rufio, who on his deathbed tells Flubber that he wished he had a dad like him. His actual son is like, whoa, maybe I should appreciate my father more, and then Hook gets eaten by a taxidermy crocodile that had previously eaten him. Everyone returns home to the real world, and Death by Smoochie gears up for the real adventure, living life. And that's Hook, in a Namely 90s minute. More or less.
And now, back to the show.
Yeah, so I totally was ready and started the timer again. Andrew, you were a little upset about good old boy, beer drinking, gunslinging recording artist who passed away recently.
Yeah, we lost Toby Keith last week. Not sure who we is. And
dude, is that a rip to the max?
It's like a rip to the medium. I don't know. I feel like he was probably a bit bigoted, but did have some significant contributions to country music. And I did listen to some of his older stuff back in the day. So always kind of sad.
Yeah. I mean, a man died.
Also, it gave the Republicans something to focus on for a while other than Taylor Swift, which was kind of a nice distraction.
Yes. And also, it made me skip karaoke for 2 weeks in a row because I know exactly what everyone's singing. To
be clear, I am a pro Taylor Swift person, by the way.
I am also a pro Taylor Swift person.
Cool.
Her best song. No. Who hasn't listened to a Taylor song since we're never, ever, ever getting back together.
I listened from the beginning, man.
Well, I liked our song.
Yeah, that's like the very first song. I think she was like dancing with Tim McGraw. Yeah, it was like Tim McGraw was like doing something with her. I don't know.
She wrote since she was like 12 or something.
Yeah, she's a writer. No, she's cool. Good people.
Yeah.
But yeah, Toby Keith. Couple of classic songs. Should have been a cowboy. Can't remember the name of the other one. And the Boot in Your Ass song after 9/11. Oh,
the Red Solo Cups, the new popular one that they were singing.
Yeah, that song is an atrocity of upon man. Like,
imagine hearing it for the first time at karaoke.
I don't know. Nope. Yeah, so the post 9/11 song, and then he did a lot of stuff about like soldiers in America for like 10 years after 9/11. And then Red Solo Cup, and then
that's who they were parodying in South Park with the when Kenny died, and they had a country artist, and it was like, "Where were you when the kids built the tower to heaven?" Because they were building a tower to heaven to get a ticket back.
Well, that was an Alan Jackson song called "Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning," and that was also Alan a 9/11 song.
Okay.
But Toby Keith had the we'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American Way song directed at generally Middle Eastern people, I believe.
So it was Alan Jackson then.
Yeah, but good call out. Jackson. I mean, the fact that they knew, Jafar Jackson.
Yes.
So anyway,
the Jackson 5: Michael, Janet, Jafar, Alan, and Tito.
Tito. There it is. So we're gonna do a Toby Queith. That almost came out wrong. It was like
it came out.
Toby Keith Queith, not Queith. I bequeath upon you this quiz.
Another South Park reference? Yeah. This is by number one Keith fan on BuzzFeed. You can find it in the description below. Keith. Andrew had the idea that we should do what Toby Keith song we are, but no one's made that yet. No one's made that quiz yet. So if you want to take the time and do that and send it to us, we'll do it on the show. But yeah, first question for should you have been a cowboy by number one Keith fan. Do you plan on settling down and getting married?
Well, I am, so I better answer yes.
Yeah. Yes, maybe, no way. That's my dream. Yeah, I go to bed at night just dreaming that. I guess I'll go maybe because I'm getting pretty old now.
You never know. You never know.
I hope so someday. I guess that is my dream. Yeah.
Do you know how to rope and ride? Darn tootin'. No, but I'd like to. What? And I can ride a bike.
I mean, I can ride a bike. I used to know.
I can't. I'm gonna say what? You can ride a bike.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I used to know how to make a lasso and at least spin it one direction. I don't remember why I knew that, but I can ride a bike. Why are you going to California? Whiskey, women, gold. I'm not going go California.
The great thing is that these are actual lyrics to the song.
Oh, good.
He says California is full of women, whiskey, and gold, or whiskey, women, and gold, or something like that. Let's see. I don't really like whiskey.
I don't think you're allowed to say women, or else someone's going to send that to your wife.
No, I'm going to go with women. Yeah.
I'm
not going to fare well on this.
I mean, I guess I'll also go with women because, well, I'm down here for alcohol. I'll go whiskey.
All right.
Pick your favorite mode of transportation: car, horse, train, moseying.
Well, I do walk slowly. I like a car.
I also like me a car.
All right. Choose a singer: Chris Ledoux, Reba McEntire, Mason Ramsey, Roy Rogers, George Strait, Florida Georgia Line.
I didn't realize Roy Rogers was a...
Speaking of modern mullets, that's Florida Georgia Line for you.
I didn't know Roy Rogers was a singer.
I thought that was a cocktail. That's a Rob Roy.
Oh.
I'm a purist. I'm going George Strait.
I also was going to do George Strait because I don't know any of these other people.
Florida Georgia Line's a couple of douchers with like modern mullets.
I am familiar enough to know that I don't like them.
Okay.
So I guess I'll go Reba.
Yeah, Reba's a solid bet.
Yeah, but I'm assuming number one Keith fan is going to be slightly sexist.
Yeah.
What's your catchphrase? It's it.
Lit?
What? Oh, is that?
It's lit.
The I was capitalized. It's lit. What in tarnation? Yeehaw! Or howdy, partner.
I'm going what in tarnation because it always stuck with me how in The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, when you woke up that guy with like the chicken game.
Yeah.
You're like, what in tarnation? Wasn't that guy? No, this is the guy where you're like trying to get the Goron sword. There's a guy you wake up.
It was, the
chicken guy.
He's asleep in front of the castle.
Can I get a little? Can I get a little shut eye around here?
Yeah, and then there's the chicken game that he's also
what in tarnation
based on Mario. It's lit, I guess. I'm a zoomer.
Wow. How do you send letters? Telegram, snail mail, Pony Express, or email?
Who is able to send it Pony Express?
Who is able to send a letter on a telegram? It's short form.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm email all the way.
I literally just mailed something today, so snail mail. Where do you spend your Friday nights? At the honky tonk, the club, rodeo, or at home?
At home, unequivocally.
I mean, probably at home, but I do go out sometimes.
They can find you into club.
Yeah, you can find me at the club. No, I would say the local honky tonk, speakeasy.
Aside from being a cowboy, which career interests you the most? Bartender, farmer, social media influencer, or there are other jobs? Question mark.
I mean, I know what I'll steal from you, so you can go first.
I think I'd be an influencer. I think I have the body for it.
Okay.
No, I would, because it seems like quite the life. What are you gonna be?
Either a bartender or I'm not a farmer. I know I'm not a farmer. I know my job relies on farming, but I came down here for whiskey, man. Pick a Toby Keith song. You picked a social media influencer?
Yeah.
Okay. Pick a Toby Keith song. I want to talk about me. How do you like me now? Beer for my horses, or as good as I once was. If
you need to know, if it gives you any if it helps you, Beer for My Horses featured Willie Nelson.
Oh, that sounds nice. But there's the song where it's like, "How you like me now?" Is probably not the Toby Keith
It's
one.
not that. How do you like me now? Now that I'm on my way.
I'm on my way.
You still think I'm
home.
crazy standing here today? Something like that.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with the Willie Nelson one.
Yeah. I go with How Do You Like Me Now? It's pretty good. Good classic one. Before he got annoying.
Yeah. I guess I shouldn't have picked Honky Tonk.
Mine says, quiz, should you have been a cowboy? Absolutely not. Okay, You're a greenhorn if I've ever seen one. Stay on the pavement, Slick.
I think I clicked some wrong things because I got, you should have been a cowboy. Looks like you missed your true calling. Time to hop on a train out west and buy your first pair of spurs.
But the guy's wearing a rainbow hat?
No, it's a dachshund with a little cowboy hat on.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Black and brown ones.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, in a full outfit. I think that's probably good.
Yeah, that was great. That's what that was. Yeah, but anyway, rip to the medium.
Yeah, rip to the mid.
Toby Keith.
Yeah. And if you have a favorite Toby Keith song that I should listen to, send it to whatever Andrew's Bluesky account is down in the comments.
For me, it should have been a cowboy, though. That is the quintessential and best Toby Keith song without doubt in my mind.
I mean, I still have Red Solo Cup stuck in my head from someone else singing it. So
that may be on the top 10 worst songs list of all time.
Of all time. Right up there with Barbie Girl by Aqua.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is also stuck in my head now. And that's it for this week's edition of Name Me 90s. Remember, you can find new episodes out every Monday. Find us on Instagram, Bluesky, and YouTube at Name Me 90s with a 90s. And tell us what you want us to talk about on future episodes. If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Name Me 90s, also with the 90s. Finally, you can contact us through our website, namey90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, Keith, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon. That's Andrew, and we will catch you next time.
Should have learned to rope and ride.